Mfoka Manzini.
Okay, ngiyabonga Nkunezi. Yazi angazi between ifoni ne-network ukuthi ilona liphi idimoni elikhulu. Kodwa alisibekezelele whatever dimoni alisibekezelele kakhulu kalento kancane sesawuphothula. So Mkhize bengisasho la ukuthi what you are saying was very profound, especially uma ukhuluma ngokuthi we need to take a moment and seize ifoni thina and hold a meeting with ourselves. That is very profound because we often get very doctrinated on many things, on how to do certain things. We want to be told and be doctrinated on how to pass, how to pulega, how to do certain ezinye zezinto, forgetting ukuthi kwamina kumele ngibuye ngizithole ngaphakathi because ezinye zezinto engingakwazi ukuthi ngiconnecte ngazo might differ with indlela that wena wenza ngayo izinto. Khona la umkhuba nosiko lalihamba libe lihluke khona. Uhambe wazowathinta even shoko yamaphupho nani, which we should be taking them as teaching guides on, trying to access obviously elelinyizwe and likwazi ukuba lisconnecte with or rather in finding ourselves and in the process of transformation. So that was very profound, and I think it's something that we need to constantly remind ourselves ukuthi kubalekile ukuhamba ubuye ifuna, because uzoba nomntwana, and I've came across a situation where even mawuqala ukukhuluma nabantu abadala like, but this one is not giving us an opportunity ukuthi simkhulise, yabo, because ulokhu urely kakhulu on abantu abasemaceleni nento abayishoyo, and you're not really taking a moment to listen, which is very important, to listen to your inner self even, which is very important, because that's when as I think enye into kumele sibuye silento sibuye asikhulume mhlambe asigcizelele ngokwanele. Your inner self iyona gateway to spirituality in terms of accessing the spiritual world. So awukwazi ukuyibalekela in connecting to your inner self, because la uqala khona uzokwazi ukuthi ukhuphukele kwizinga eliphezulu ngokamoya. So I think bekuyilokho Nkunezi ebengizama ukuchaza before umuntu ephazamiseke. I think okunye umuntu engabuza ukuthi iziphi indlela ezamukelekile zokuthwasa.
Okay. Bengisacela ukuthi Mfoka Manzini ngiqede because bese ngiyeka kasikhathi usathe ukushwi usaphazamisekile, bengisachaza ukuthi kusizaphi ukuthwasa. Mhlambe ngingaqedela lapho and then bese ngena kulo mbuzo lo.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So bengisasho la ukuthi ukuthwasa kusiza ukuthi appreciate wonke umuntu osempilweni yakho, futhi appreciate konke okusempilweni yakho nokwenzeka empilweni yakho. Kusiza futhi ukuthi uzihlolisise ingaphakathi lakho, uzazi ukuthi ungubani futhi umeleni, what exactly do you represent njengoba uphila kulomhlaba. And ayikho into ke ebalulekeke njengalokho ukuthi uzihlolisise wena ukuthi what do you stand for, why are you here, uzeleni emhlabeni, what is your significance empilweni yakho wena nasempilweni zalaba obaziyo nalabo oxhumene kubona. So intwaso ke kusiza ukuthi ukwazi lokho, iphinde futhi ikusize kutheni ungajaji muntu, ungajaji futhi izinto ezenzakalayo around you, but you learn from people, you learn from circumstances and other things ezikhona empilweni yakho, because as humans we have a tendency to judge. Kanti ukujudge, it's of a low frequency, and the more we judge, the less light we consume for impilo zethu ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sikhule. And ukuthwasa kukusiza ekutheni ubone ubuhle kubona konke okwenzakalayo empilweni yakho, kubona bonke abantu abasempilweni yakho, and in so doing ukwazi ukuthi ubone ubuso balokhu esikubiza ukuthi umdali wakho konke. Imagine if every person ohlangana naye emhlabeni umbona ewena, uthi uhamba nje wherever la uhamba khona ubone ubuso bakho. How will that make you feel? But if uthi go through intwaso Intwaso, it helps you ukuthi wonke umuntu ombukayo umbone ngeso lobuhle, umbone ukuthi lo muntu muhle, kuthi zonke izinto ezenzakalayo ezinhle nalokho esithi zimbi, but uzithathe njengemfundiso empilweni yakho. You can only do that when you go through an awareness stage, which is part of intwaso. Kukusiza ukuthi uxhumane nalento esikubiza ukuthi ukuthula, peace of mind. You know, if uthwasile uba nokuthula, why? Because uba nalokuqonda okujulile ngezinto ezenzakalayo. That is why most of the time abantu abathwasayo, they are always reserved. Why? Because basuke beconnecta nalokuthula engikhuluma ngakho. You know, because they want to, you know, kunomnganami, she's 84 years of age. Wake wangitshela ukuthi empilweni kumele izinto mezenzeka ungabi too quick to accept, ungabi too quick to reject. Because when you are too quick to accept and you're too quick to reject, you are giving yourself an opportunity not to learn from whatever kusuke kwenzeka empilweni yakho. And ufunda kahle empilweni by connecting with this peace of mind, by minding your business, by getting to understand this silence, the power of silence. You understand? So that is where okwazi ukuthi uxhumane khona kahle nedlozi lakho noma namathongo akho noma nomdali wakho. You know, when you are at a space of peace of mind. And intwaso ke, it helps you ukuthi ukwazi ukuxhumana nalokho. Futhi intwaso askiz iyakusiza ukuthi wena uzixolele, you know, kukhona konke osudlule kukona ongakwenzanga kahle. You know, whatever mistakes that you have done, you forgive yourself, because ayikho into manzini ebaluleke njengokuthi umuntu fanele azixolele yena. You know, intwaso ke gives you that opportunity yokuthi forgive yourself. Once you forgive yourself, it will be easier to forgive other people. One thing that you need to understand is this: everything that we have done and everything that we have experienced, it's over.
Yes.
It's already happened. You can't choose it. You can't undo it, sorry. You know, you need to move on to new experiences with the lessons that you have learned from the things that you have done, from the things that you have experienced. You understand? So everything that you have done and experienced, it brings itself with lessons. Take those lessons and move on to the new experiences. That is intwaso mntakamkhulu. Ayikho futhi enye into edlula lokho. You know, intwaso ikusiza ekutheni wazi ukuthi uma ufuna injabulo yakho wedwa angeke uzuyithole. Uma uzomala uthi mina I want to be happy. Only me, I deserve to be happy. Me. Then you have lost it already, because it will elude you. Why? But if uthi ufuna injabulo ukuthi ifinyelele nakwabanye abantu, nawe ke izokufika futhi izohlala kweningi naphakade. Why ngisho kanje manzini? Because when you say I want happiness only for myself, you tend to ukuthi operate out of the ego. You understand? And when you do that, you tend to suppress abanye abantu. You tend to be ignorant of iqiniso, of the existence yabanye abantu around you. So that is why with mofuna injabulo, we all want to be happy. But trick is ekutheni, you need to look for happiness for others, then you will get it yourself. You know, lento le ikhuluma ngayo lento yokuthi ungabi selfish empilweni. Iphinde futhi intwaso ikusize manzini ekutheni wazi futhi uqonde lobuhlakani obukhulu engeke ngakhuluma ngabo obujulile ukuthi bugijima ngaphakathi kuwe. You know, uma sithi the master of everything that is that knows everything is with us and within us. Inkosi inathi. What exactly do you mean by that? Is because lobuhlakani obukhulu, this master of everything that knows everything, ulanga phakathi ugijima la kuwe. So once uqonda lokho, you will then know ukuthi how am I going to conduct myself with society. You understand? Lento ke manje isihlukanisa umuntu owenza okuhle nomuntu owenza okubi, because uyakwazi manzini ukuthi uthi fall to either side and ube u-excel futhi, but we will talk about that some other time, because ingakho uthola sinabathakathi sinabelaphi. Nabathakathi nabo bathwasile bayathwasa, nabelaphi nabo bayathwasa, but that's a topic for another day. You know, asingangeni kuyona because ijulile futhi idinga umuntu osethe ukuvuthwa kancane engqondweni.
Yes.
Enye into ngentwaso futhi eksisizayo ile yokuthi ikusiza ukuthi ukwazi ukurelease konke lokho ofundiswe khona abantu abakulomhlaba, bese uxhumana nalokhu kwakho okuqondene nawe ngqo, you know, okuzosiza wena ukuthi ukwazi ukuxhumana nedlozi lakho, uthole izinto ezi-direct for wena, you know, because lezi zinto oyifundiswe abantu bakufundise abantu based on their own experiences. Nami lezi zinto engizikhuluma manje ngisikhuluma based on my own experiences, which is different from your own experience. But you use my experiences as a case study to understand your journey. But if you want to make sure ukuthi uthola ijourney yakho njengoba injalo, uyothola edlozini lakho, uyothola kumathongo akho, uyothola kulabo okuyibona abakulethela.
Yes.
Akekho omunye ongakutshela kangcono other than labo. We understand, because ibona oxhumekeke nabo through i-DNA. Uxhumekeke nabo labo through umoya. So bakwena kumphefumulo wakho, baqukethe kumphefumulo wakho. So yibona bazokutshela exactly ukuthi why are you here and why uzalwe ngosuku olukuthi, why they have given you this nickname obizwa ngale emhlabeni. Because another thing manzini that you need to understand ukuthi lamagama esizibiza ngawo njengoba sihamba la emhlabeni are not our real names, but these names they help us kwi-journey yethu yalomhlaba. When you get out of this mhlaba, you go there, you connect with the real you and the real name yakho. You understand? And when usentwasweni uma kunegaba zakhona entwasweni, depending ukuthi uthwasa kanjani, you get to know your real name and you get to understand ukuthi why am I being called unkosinathi? Oh, I'm being called unkosinathi la emhlabeni because I need to constantly be reminded ukuthi inkosi inathi thina njengoba sihamba emhlabeni, and everyone else okwesphere of contact yami needs to understand that ukuthi inkosi inathi njengoba sila emhlabeni. We understand? So leli gama, it has to do with what is happening around here on earth. It has got nothing to do with what is happening on the other side. So when you go through intwaso, you tend to understand that ukuthi why am I being called by this name? You know, and you can only get that by the people that have given you this life. Yes. You know, so yini ekufanele wena, yini futhi okumele uyenze njengoba la emhlabeni. You can only get that when you are connected to those people abakulethela emhlabeni. Intwaso ke mntakamkhulu ikusiza lapho ukuba aware of i-transformation empilweni yakho, ikusiza lapho. So sengena kulombuzo ngibuze yona ukuthi iziphi indlela zokuthwasa ezamukelekile. Kunento engiyishilo la eqaleni kade siqala ngathi ukuthwasa it's very personal.
Yes.
Intwaso ihluke kakhulu kumuntu nomuntu. Indlela omunye umuntu athwase ngayo angeke afana ncamashi neyomunye umuntu. We need to be clear on that one. You know, futhi fanele wazi ukuthi, you know, one thing that I've also realized njengomuntu obuya achaze amaphupho abantu, ngirealize ngalesikhathi umuntu abantu bengichazela amaphupho noma umuntu engichazela amaphupho akhe, and then I'm like, lo muntu yazi ukuthi uyathwasa. But uthola ukuthi yena akekho aware. But through lama messages lawa engwa interpretayo for yena, atshengisa ukuthi lo muntu already vele has already started i-ritual yentwaso through amaphupho akhe. You know, into zakhe zenzeka spiritual. Another thing that I always say mfoka manzini ukuthi thina we are the extension of that what we call the spirit, and the spirit is the basis of that what we are. So okusho ukuthi yonke into yethu ayiqali la kwi-physicalness.
Awuyiphinde ngunezilo parts. Awuyiphinde ngunezilo parts. We're an extension.
The spirit is the basis of that which we are. And we are the extension of that what we call the spirit. So
kahle thina extension again ezonhlulu. Ngiyayibona kodwa ukuthi ngiyayibamba la ikhuluma khona ukuthi sisizinda sikamoya.
Ispirit sizinda sethu thina siqhamuka from there. Njengoba sisila emhlabeni. Siqhamuka kwispirit. Hayi ukuthi siqala kwi-physical siye kwi-spirit. Siqala kwi-spirit sibuye.
Yes.
There is why lento engihleze ngisho ngithene most of the time ukuphila kwakho kwasemhlabeni wena uhleze uconnect kwi-spirit about 95% of the time. Izinto zenzayo wayilula emhlabeni 95% wazo zi-spiritual. You understand? It's very few things as physical ezenzakalayo kuwena.
And I think it's important, and I think it's very important that we understand local, because we also tend to judge ourselves very harshly, not understanding which we have no control over, because it is the spirit manifesting ngendlela that it knows how.
Yes, true. Angithi laba abafunda iBhayibheli bazokutshela uPaul uyayisho lo into leyo, you know, ukuthi inyama it's limited. You understand? Inyama iyakwazi ukuthi isifunelo kwayo. You understand? But fail to understand ukuthi inyama it's just an extension of the spirit, but if izinto eziningi zicontroleka lapha behind the scene, you know. So ngalesikhathi wena ungixoxela amaphupho akho already usuyiqalile iritual yentwaso. By the time if uthi uzuhambe uyothwasa mhlambe emzini womuntu othizeni if wena kufanele uye lapho isuka vele siqale spiritual kunento esuka ikuphushile. There is why kwesisikhathi uthothi uzozwa abantu betshela bethi mina ngavuka ngaphaphama sengikasibanibani sengikamkhizi, yabo yini ekuthathile ukubeka kaMkhizi. We understand? Uhambile spiritual, because that is a sign yokuthi izinto eziningi zenzeka from the spiritual point of view and uba zifike on a physical plane.
On the physical realm.
So kuyenzeka ukuthi mabe umuntu exoxela amaphupho akho, you understand ukuthi vele lo muntu useyathwasa, but akufanele ukuthi umqine mnyekele, because kuzohamba kuhambe kufike la ezorealize khona ukuthi hawu yazi ukuthi vele kahle kahle bengithwasa. You understand? All along, for the past 10 years, I've been twassing. For the past 20 years, because ngiyayithanda yabona ukuzwe manzini kuthiwa khona laba bathi bona bathwasiswe ispirits abathwasanga kumuntu.
Yes.
Leyo ntwaso leyo, it's an ongoing ntwaso. Leyo ntwaso leyo, it can take 20 years until when you realize this is my gift. But I was oversigning and you realize this is my gift. But when you look back, you're like, nanti poop, nasi sibonakaliso, nanti vision. You know, that is why abaningi bethi you need to keep a diary amaphupho akho, which you will always revisit, so that you can see a journey yempilo yakho ukuthi ihamba kanjani. You understand? Because you realize ukuthi for the past 15 years or 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, when a value yathwasa, you know, and then mhlambe usekufanele ungene esigabeni sokuthi okay yazini kunezinto ezithizo kumele manje uziphothule, kunama rituals athizo kumele uwaphothule. And mabe uthwase ngaleyo ndlela, you are always giving people or a person that will guide you.
Yes.
Hayi ukuthwasisa. Uyakuguide because akanawo amandla okuthwasisa. Wena kahle kahle awuthwasiswa umuntu. Futhi I don't believe, this is my belief, I don't believe ukuthi ukhona umuntu okwazi ukuthwasisa omunye umuntu. Umuntu uthwasiswa abantu bakubo.
Yeah.
Umuntu uthwasiswa ispirit sakhe. ukuthi uthwasiswa mhlambe under i-guidance yomunye umuntu simply because mhlambe wena indlela oziphethe ngayo uyashesha ukuthi udisturbeke noma uphume entweni so umuntu ozohleze ekukhalima ngaso sonke isikhathi ukuze ukwazi ukufeza izinto lezi abayifunayo kuwena so ziningi izinto abantu ke abazenzayo umfokamanzini ehlukile zokuthwasa angeke ke ngangena kuyona ukuthi uthwasa kanje bengenza nje isibonelo ngalokho ukuthwasa ngamaphupho noma ukuthwasiswa ispirits it's one of indlela zokuthwasa enye yileyo yokuya ephehlweni yokuya kumuntu I'm sure zikhona nezinye which I cannot get into why because lezo ndlela le indlela othwasa ngayo it differs per person futhi iba personal you know and angeke ngime la ngishaya isifuba ngithi indlela le yokuqala indlela yesibili indlela yesithathu indlela yesine why because I will be ngizobe ngiqamba amanga ngizobe ngifuna udumon ngekho we understand
umkhulu usekuleyo nje ngiyaxolisa ukuphululeni usekuleyo nje kunombuzo la okwavela ukuthi kuyaphoqa yini ukuthi in the process yokugobisha intwaso sachaza ukuthi kunendlela eziningi ehlukile ukuthi udlule egobongweni kuyaphoqa yini ukuthi in that process of transformation ukuthi kumele udlule egobongweni
okay and ingakho ke ngithene kuhlukile umuntu nomuntu Manzini usekhona
yes ngisekhona nguneza ububuhle akabhali khona la ngimthume khona yo umkhulumile ke nakumina oh mkhulu nguneza
Manzini
yes nguneza
okay la leye gobongo umbuzo menguthola kahle uthi kuyaphoqa yini ukuthi mangabe uthwasa udlule egobongweni is that the question am I right
yes I think extenda nje nakancane emkhulu kancane ukuthi in the spirit in the process of transformation in the spirit of spiritual awakening what role
but I think ingale ngakumanzini because uyakhatha
kodwa ngikhathiswa yini
right
niyangizwa kodwa bahlali bokho khona omkhulu nguneza
all right
ngiyazwakala kahle
uyakhatha
ingabe kwenziwa yini Nkosi yami ngu-good connection
all right sengiyakuzwa ke manje
yes
right usezwakala
oh yes ngithi lamkhulu just a bit uku-extenda nje kancane for general understanding ukuthi uma sikhuluma ngayo process of transformation abanye that will even link it to spiritual awakening what role does igobongo play in awakening the spirit and angifuna ukuphendula but in channeling and opening doors for you to access the spiritual realm
yes
so what role I think uzophenduleka in that process ukuthi what role does it play kahle
all right okay uyakhumbula la Manzini ngithe njoba namhlanje amadlozi esidlozomela efuna ukuthi senze izinto you know obona bafuna ukwenza izinto through us is because they baba ignorant of some certain things we understand hence now when they got to the other side they then realize ukuthi I was supposed to do 1 2 3 4 5 we understand so now because mina njoba ngihamba lemhlabeni naye esengale kwi spiritual world kumele kube khona i connection phakathi kwami naye kumele kube khona i-agreement phakathi kwami naye so there are some rituals that I will have to do while here on earth to connect with that person if there is a need for cleansing we understand that whatever ritual be it igobongo whatever other ritual it will act to ukuthi lismoothise i-relationship yami nalongale ukuze kukwazeke ukuthi izinto zifezeke ukhumbula ukuthi la Manzini ngake ngathi njengoba siphila la emhlabeni we are not on isolation futhi asiphileli thina but siphilela what we represent. Siphilela ama-kingdoms ethu, siphilela imndeni yethu. So whether we like it or not, whatever that we do here on earth, we represent imndeni yethu.
Yes.
So if ilunga lomndeni, whether ngiyathanda noma ngithandi, if ilunga lomndeni kufanele futhi sekuvunyiwe emndenini ukuthi yene kumele kwenzeke okuthize, mina njengoba ngila emhlabeni ngirepresenta bona, uma umuntu usungikhombile kufanele ukuthi ngikwenze lokho ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi angenzeli mina but ngenzela umndeni wami. So if I go through igobongo, uma idlozi noma amathongo eseshilo wona ngoba fanele ayisholo wona, ungasho omunye umuntu oseceleni ukuthi yenza ini, but kube yilo elizokutshela ukuthi mfoka Mkhize yenza lokhu nalokhu so that kuzokwenzeka lokhu nalokhu nalokhuya. You understand? Ngoba ingakho ngisho ngithi ziningi izinto abantu abazenzayo ezihlukile umuntu nomuntu zokuthwasa. Abanye bayaqala egobongweni, abanye abaqali. Yabo? Abanye benza into encane ethize, mhlawumbe umuntu uyahamba nje ayogeza ngomuthi othize ngempande ethize and then that's it. Omunye mhlawumbe anikezwe ibhayi. You understand? Then that's the start of the process. We understand? So ziningi ama-rituals umuntu adlula kuwona okufanele awenze ahlukayo per person, ahlukayo per instruction from what we represent. We understand? Yes. So if lithi idla igobongo lifanele likutshela ukuthi lelo gobongo lidlayo lizokwenzani. You know, ngabe lizoqinisa i-communication phakathi kwakho nabo, ngabe lizogeza, ngabe whatever, bazosho bona izathu. That is why most people kumele bazifundise ukuthi uma beye kubalaphi bendabuko babuze ngidlelani igobongo. Why ngidla lenkamba lenkamba izongisiza. You know, umelaphi wendabuko kumele naye ayifundise ukuba able to unpack izinto kubantu, angavesane nje athi ngidla igobongo. Chazela umuntu ukuthi ngidlelani igobongo. What is the step that is expected next after this? We understand? So inkinga esekutheni la mfoka Manzini abantu abaningi ababuzi. Uma behlangana nabalaphi bendabuko ababuzi, bavesane bathathe lezi. There is why uthola ukuthi kanti futhi if umuntu onjalo liyakwazi ukuthi ithongo lakho libuyele inganeno likulinde futhi up until uze ugain that courage yokwazi ukuthi ubuze. Khona abantu abangena entwaseni isikhathi singafiki, ngingakuhlolela mina manje ngikutshele ngithi yes kufanele uthwase, but hayi ukuthi kufanele uqale manje uthwase like uthwase mhlawumbe kumuntu ngenza especially kulabo abathwasa kubantu. You know, kufanele bahambe bokwenza those rituals emzini yabantu. You understand? Yes. Ukuthi isikhathi salokho asikakafiki but bayatshela kuyohamba kuhambe uhambe wena uyothwasa kaMkhize noma uhambe uyothwasa kaManzini. Yani but akusho ukuthi kufanele lokho ukwenze manje. Like I said before, izinto ethongweni zidependa kakhulu kwi-timing. Uyahamba wena uyothwasa manje just because kuthiwa thwasa. You know, uthe umlaphi wendabuko hamba uyothwasa, usuyagijima wena usuyothwasa, kanti i-timing ayikakabi perfect for intwaso, especially laba abathwasa emzini yabantu. Because I think kulezi ezinye indlela zokuthwasa it's a complete different story. You understand? Why ngifocus kakhulu kulento yokuyothwasa emzini yabantu? Because iyona common, iyona kakhulu futhi nabathakathi abadlala ngayo ngabantu. You know, ngoba nakho befuna ukufeza izinhloso zabo ethize. You understand? So that is why kufanele ube clear, because ayikho into ebuhlungu njengokuhlala emzini nomuntu. Kunesidina ukuhlala emzini nomuntu. Yabona thina sakhulela emzini abantu from sisebancane, ayikho into enesidina njengaleyo. Imagine ke manje uya lapha and kufanele uyothola lento enkulu. Kunabantu abaphuma behlukumezekile, uthothi akasayiqedi neritual yakhe ayiyele lapha because uhlukumezekile. Why? It's because timing was not perfect. We need to connect with the spirituality or spiritual beings ethu so that we can get to know timing. And enye into engicela ukuthi ngisho kubantu ukuthi abayeke ukuthanda izinto ezisheshayo, because izinto ezisheshayo azive zifaka engozini. You understand? Give yourself time to process everything. Zinikezele i-process, you know, and the process ungayithayimi wena. Yekela laba bakuphethe kube ibona abayithayimayo, because isikhathi sabo asifani nesikhathi sethu. Okwethu thina ukuthi si-connect nabo, siba-informe of what is happening empilweni zethu njoba samba right now. Because bona, they are not always on a linear plane, they are on an astral level. So they look things from the spiritual point of view. So thina wethu umsebenzi ukuthi sibabuyisele down to our linear level and update them. Hence, that is why sikhuleka, that is why siphahla. Siphahla simply because we inform them this is what is happening now.
Yes.
Bona ke sebebuka the bigger picture and find this little piece engibatshela ngawo, so that they can see ukuthi how to maneuver around the puzzle, the thing, the puzzle le abasinikeze yona yempilo. You understand? So kubalulekile ukuthi si understand ukuthi before you involve yourself kwi ritual ethize yokwamukela isipho sakho, you need to be clear about imphumela yakhona. Ungangeni blindfolded, ungazi ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani. Especially if into yakho ixhumene nomunye umuntu, because abantu la ngaphandle bagangile emanzini, abantu la ngaphandle selfish, abantu la ngaphandle bazifunela kwawo. So you need to be the custodian of your gift. Wena ufanele kuyi-responsibility yakho ukuthi uprotecte i-gift yakho, uziprotecte wena, uziprotecte nakubantu abangakufuneli okuhle. But if uzobe uvuma zonke, ube a naive kind of a person, then you will have a problem kule mpilo kamoya, because ivulelekile. Futhi ungabafuni labantu all know it all. Bayahlupha abantu abazi yonke into. You know, because bayafakana ehlathini. So be careful of those people again. You know, akhona ke ama flex okwazi ukubona ngawo ukuthi la engazi ukuthi ene angikho right. Nanokuthi enye into ebalekile manzini ngalento yokuthwasa. Amaphupho akho ungahamba uxoxela wona nanoma ubani. Yazi I'm noticing this thing eyenzakalayo. Abantu akuve kulula nje ukuthi umuntu avesana xoxa iphupho lakhe nje isinome kanjani. Guys, these are spiritual messages. These are the personal messages. Sometimes these messages iwona abuya ame endleleni yakho yempumelelo yakho, because awi protect wena into yakho, into yakini. Be careful ukuthi utshela bani ngamaphupho. Be careful ukuthi uxoxa nini iphupho lakho. Everything lies within the timing. You understand? So sometimes sike silahle izinto zethu because asifuna ukuvala imlomo yethu. Sihamba sixoxa nje. You know, kunamaphupho okufanele ukhulume nomuntu ngalo eceleni. Ukhulume naye umuntu umtshela iphupho lakho specifically ukuthi kwenzakalani. Akona wonke ama messages ofanele aziwe wona wonke umuntu. That is why ungeke uhambe uhlola wona wonke umuntu mase uexpect into A1. You understand? Umuntu nomuntu uzovuleleka ngendlela avuleleka ngayo ezintweni zakho, because bazobuye khona izinto abazothi no thina saba kaMkhize asifuni abantu bakamanzini ukuthi bazi indaba zethu mase beyivala. Yes, we need to understand into leyo. So indlela zokuthwasa, I'm not going to get kuma rituals enziwayo ukuthi iritual ukuthi usukuthwasa uthwasela ukuthi ritual ukuthi uthwasa ukuthi. I think lapho kumele uguidwe abantu bakini okuyibona okufanele bakutshele ukuthi hamba ke manje uyothwasela ukuthi, hamba ke manje uyothwasela ukuthi, yabo. Then ke ngasikhathi bekusa kumanzini bazokutshela futhi ukuthi kumanzini uyokwenza 1 2 3, uyokwenzela lokhu nalokhu nalokhu isikhathi esiwukuthi. Kunabantu mina amanzini engibasizile empilweni, abantu bakubo babuya bazotshela bona ukuthi into ukuthi yenze 3 days, into ukuthi yenze 4 days, into ukuthi yenze 5 days, you understand. Futhi babatshele ukuthi why we are saying 5 days, why we are saying 7 days. Kwesinye isikhathi khona nje omunye usisi owatshela wathi akenze 7 days, wababuza wathi why u7, kwathi uyabuyela back kulo mfana okunikeze lento le, uyena ozokutshela ukuthi unumber 7 usho ukuthini. By the time efika kumina ngabe sengimtshela ukuthi ugogo wakho uthe u7 umele ukuthi nokuthi emndenini wakini. Untombazane waconfirma into leyo ngani ngefamily history yakubo, ngoba yena uyazi kangcono kunami, mina ngiyazi, mina I'm just a vessel ye message, we understand. So ezinye zezinto zisebenza kanjani, abanye amathongo ayakwazi ukuthi enye information bayiwithhold, you know, ngoba bafuna into zabo zihanjwe zikhulunywa umhlaba wonke, because if into isikhulunywa umhlaba wonke iluza ivalue.
Yo, siyabonga kakhulu Ngunezi. Nangale ama-message alakho engenile nje abantu bebabaza ulwazi osubacobelele lona namhlanje. Siyabonga kakhulu. Kukhona nje la othinta kuyona on indlela eziningi zokuthwasa, even though ungangenanga kuyona, because I think it's a separate topic nje on its own. But ebengifuna ukudlulisa nami ukuthi I think we have reached a stage, firstly kuthiwa khona i-trend liphumile, but where now there's a certain peer pressure amongst abantu who are spiritually gifted to think that the common way yokuthwasa iyona ndlela, and if ungadlulanga through leyo ndlela shuthi wena ufana njengomuntu ongathwasile. And kuyinto mhlawumbe kumele ngelinye ilanga singene kuyona and be able to educate one another singabantwana bethonga, because it is not even into mhlawumbe ozothi ikhuluma outside abantwana bethonga, but i-discrimination of some sort that is within, yabo, abantwana bedlozi. And komele ngelilanga sibuye si-correct ukuthi ayinjalo, you know. Angifuni ukuze ngingene kakhulu ukuthi mhlawumbe abanjani abangale, even though uthintile kancane nokuthi abanjani abahamba ngale, but yona iyadinga ukuthi correct ukuze kungabi khona sengathi khona le peer pressure, ngoba i-peer pressure i-problem ngayo ukuthi kuzofika kube nomntwana ofuna ukukhula and ongakacobelelwa ngolwazi kakhulu, and ukukhulunywa kwalento and esetshenziswa manje njengengcindezi ngayo yonke umuntu around everyone is the iyona nto edala ukuthi sibe neyinkinga engaka within i-journey yedlozi, where abantu are somewhat feeling pressured without even, because yabona mhlawumbe ngikufunda namhlanje mina ukuthi before izinto ngizenze funa ngiqale ngilalela abantu abadala, yabo. Ngikufunda namhlanje ukuthi as much as ngingatshenwa namhlanje ukuthi kumele ngihambe ngiyothwasa, but it doesn't necessarily mean ukuthi funa ngihambe ngiyongena ephehlweni namhlanje, uyabona. But now angazi ukuthi mase kuba nale pressure ke khona that is constantly ongoing, kuba sengathi i-process yongena ephehlweni angazi uphuma usunama superpowers kanjani. Not to say they are not superpowers, but we tend to exaggerate, you know, kwesinye isikhathi and not sikhulume ngokwanele ukuthi kumele yenzeke uma sekwenzakaleni. Angithi yabona that ngokuqhubeka kwesikhathi kumele sihambe sibuye silungise so that singadukisi abantwana bedlozi. Baningi namhlanje abantu abanenkinga bokuhamba baye ephehlweni bebuya not being able, umuntu ahambe connecta nedlozi ebuye engasa-connect ngenxa ukuthi khona la kufike kwakhona izinto la iphambana khona. Angithi yabona negama futhi olisebenzisile, I think elinye legama nami engisazolisebenzisa ukuthi inkinga ukuthi abanye babathakathi, yabo, branded ngengubo esiyigqokile, because that's what they do when you are destroying people's life. And that's precisely what they are constantly doing. Ngenxa ukuthi bona bafuna ukuyicebisa bona and bafuna ukuzenzela injongo zabo without really ukukhulisa umoya nedlozi elikuyena lo mntwana. So nje ngiyabonga kakhulu Ngunezi ukuthi ungene kule. Angazi noma usuqedile nokuphendula umbuzo wakho.
Yeah, mhlawumbe nginga-add into eshoyo. Yes. You know, into ebalekile mfoka Manzini ile yokuthi ukuze ungadidiseki,
Ngonesi.
ukuze ungadidiseki, yazi abantu ohamba nabo, yazi abantu bakini, ungabarashi futhi ukuthi ufuna ukubazi ngoba bazoveza nje masinyane.
Yes.
Uyophahla mhlambe for 2-3 years bengayivezi bethule, kodwa akusho ukuthi abekho, bakhona. We understand. So
Yes.
give yourself ukulinda, give yourself time to ukuthi uyifundise ukulinda, wazi ukuthi into yonke eyenzala, you know, khona into engiqale ngayo la kade ngikhuluma ngale nto entwaso ukuthi ikusizaphi intwaso. Intwaso ikusiza ukuthi u-understand ukuthi ayikho into eyenzeka nge-coincident. You know, everything eyenzakalayo empilweni yakho, you ought to learn from it rather than ukuthi uyijudge. Noma kuthiwa yimbi, noma kuthiwa yimbi, you'll have to learn from that, you know, and give yourself isikhathi. Abantu abafuna ukuzinikeza isikhathi. Why? Because they compare themselves. They compare impilo zabo nezabanye. Lento okhuluma ngaye peer pressure. Ungazicompare nomunye umelaphi wendabuko. Futhi akuwona wonke umuntu ongumelaphi wendabuko okufanele ukuthi alaphe. Ngiyazi ukuthi ungabona ngathi lento engisho iya contradict kanti no, it's not. Akusiye wonke umelaphi wendabuko ofanele ukulapha abantu. Kunabalaphi bendabuko okufanele balaphe imindeni yabo. Kunabalaphi ababizwa ngokuthi abalaphi bendabuko okufanele bathi go through ama different rituals, not for ukulapha abantu but ukulapha ama generations abo. Umelaphi wendabuko wena, udokotela wena kini ngoba udokotela isizukulwane sakini. Hayi ukuthi udokotela abanye abantu bangaphandle. Noma bona bengangakurecognize as a doctor, it's fine. Vela udokotela ibona. Kodwa labo badokotelayo ibona bakurecognize as a doctor. You understand? So, kunabelaphi bendabuko ongamelanga ukuthi balaphe abantu. Ngizokuphinda lokho. Iyona lento eshaya kakhulu ngepeer pressure. Ukuthi uzithola nje usu go through i-peer pressure because ufuna izinto engezona ezakho. Uziqhathanisa nezinto ongafanele uziqhathanise nazo. Okwakho wena you know, ayikho into ebaleke njengokuthi first and foremost, why are you here? Uzeleni kulomhlaba? Umeleni wena? Yini? What is it that you represent? Once you understand that part, I think yonke into iyobe isiyabonakala ukuthi iyakuphi empilweni yakho. But the reason why we go through all the sufferings and all the pitfalls that we go through emhlabeni, the lacking thereof of everything that is happening around us, it's konke kusisa ekutheni sikwazi ukuzibona ukuthi what is it that we represent? What is it that we ought to get from laba basilethile? Once you know who you are, you cannot know. I mean, if you don't know who you are, you cannot know what you can become. You know, charity begins at home. What is it that you do for those that you represent? Njoba usufuna nje ukuthi acceptwe abanye abantu abangaphandle. Have you been accepted? Obviously, you are accepted. Have you accepted? Because it's all about you. Have you accepted those that are within you? Have you accepted those that you represent? Have you accepted the core essence of what you are, of who you are? Have you forgiven yourself? Have you forgiven bonke labantu bagini abahambile emhlabeni nabasaphila kulomhlaba who have done you wrong? Have you forgiven them? Because when you forgive your relative, you forgive your blood. And when you forgive your blood, you forgive your bloodline. When you forgive your bloodline, you forgive yourself. And when you forgive yourself, you attain authority. And the authority it's a position of power. It's a position where you can be able to delegate power. You can use power how you see fit in a right way. But you can't get to a position of authority without forgiveness. You have to forgive. Qala ngalaba thakathi bakini, laba bakuthakathayo. Qala forgive bona. I know it's not easy, it's a journey. But if you want to be enlightened, if you want to be awakened, if ungafuni ukudlala abantu basemzini abantu, the reason why uzodlala abantu basemzini abantu, uzodlala abafundisi bamanga, uzodlala izinyanga zamantu, izangoma zamanga, it's because nawe wenza kube lula by not doing what is right and relevant for you and your family. Stop looking outside of you. Go and look from within, because that's where everything, this magnificent power that I was speaking about, this powerful divine energy that we call umdali wakho wonke, is not far from you. It's not far from us. It's here around us. We have to connect with that. And I don't need you, Zungu, ukuthi ungiconnectise nabantu bakithi. No, I don't need you. You do not need anyone else to connect with your family, but you need yourself to connect with yourself. You need yourself to connect with your family. But thina silahla la ekutheni siyazicompare, siyaziqhathanisa. Hayi ngizombona nangu uZungu ufake ibhayi ezimuhle nami lento kushuthi lingangifanele, futhi ngizobukeka ngazi ukuthi ngumelapho indabuko. No, don't do that. You are distorting your power when you do that. Kunabantu abanama gift amaningi ahlukahlukene, and even kwabona they don't know ukuthi which gift to put into place and aqala asebenze ngayo. But angifuna ukukutshela wena onjalo ukuthi what if you feel ukuthi unama gift amaningi and ungavumeli ukuthi uphazanyiswe yilokho, just choose any that you feel comfortable with and start with that, and then the rest will be history. The rest will be history. Just choose one and try to excel kuleyo gift eyi-one. You may be aware ukuthi wena umthandazo, uthandazela amanzi, ugudi, uchaza amaphupho, ugudi, uyapremonata, uyaprofeta, futhi into zakho zi-spot on, it's fine. But mold each gift per time, and uzobona once washaya igift negift, konke okunye kuyazenzakalela, konke okunye kuyaflowa, because this energy that is within us ayinama limits, futhi yona ayina skhathi, futhi ayina distance, and we need to know and tap into it. And once we tap into it, then no one else will come to you manzini akutshele fanele uhambe uyothwasa. Uzomtshela vele mina ngiyathwasa already. Ikuphi lokuthwasa okhuluma ngakho? Because umuntu nomuntu okhona emhlabeni vele uyathwasa, whether you are aware or not, but vele you go through intwaso. Lokho sukusukwenza emzini abantu noma osukudla through i-guidance mhlawumbe yomelapho indabuko, suke sekuyi-ritual that's help intwaso yakho. It's not intwaso on its own, but kusuke sekusiza kwintwaso yakho. Wena vele ezukhula uyathwasa. Mina manzini ngaqala ngisemncane ukuzibona ukuthi I'm a unique child. Ubona izinto abanye abantwana abangaziboni, and they mock you about that. You understand? So ukuthi wena umuntu ohlukile vele. Why do you need validation? Why do you need umkhizi ukuthi akutshele ukuthi wena uhlukile? Vele uhlukile, uyazazi nawe. The only people or the only beings that will validate into yakho are those that you connected with, are those that are the basis of that which you are. Mina ngiseceleni kwakho, mina the only thing engizokutshela yona, ngizokutshela based on my own experience. Njoba ngisho namanje mina ngazazi ngisemncane ukuthi ngingane ehlukile. That's my own experience. which is totally different from your experience. I am sharing you this because ngifuna ukuthi look at your life now ubone ukuthi abantu angimina ngedwa ngithi about mina kahle I'm brushing off ego yakho la yabo ngisiza ego yakho ukuthi ukwazi ukuthi okay it's fine nama okay it's fine so if umkhize but at the end of the day what you are and what you represent you can never find it outside of you but within you. So let's start and look like thina kuqala before uyodlalela ogobongo understand ukuthi laba engibaphethe bayalifuna lelo gobongo laba engihamba nabo bayalifuna lelo gobongo ngikhuluma ngegobongo because you have mentioned it anyway uyahamba uyakumelaphi wendabuko ukunikezela umuthi wokugeza confirm it with your people, confirm it with your family because umanzina ngazi uyawushaya umuthi kodwa mase nginika umuthi mina ungasebenzi. Why? It's because labantu bakithi abayifundo into. And I think kwi live yethu esasinayo I did explain ukuthi lento yomuthi isebenza kanjani.
Yes.
So it's very important. It's very important ukuthi everything oyenzayo uconnect nabantu basekhaya. We need to ukuthi sihloniphe abantu abadala. We need ukuthi sihloniphe laba basilethile emhlabeni. Sengikhuluma ngalaba bakamoya. Once uhlonipha labo, then everything else will flow kalula empilweni yakho. And ifuna wazi futhi ukuthi not everything is an instant. I know ukuthi sesijwayele izinto ezama instant messaging, instant porridge, instant this, instant that. Hayi la ejozini.
Instant man.
Ejozini ayisebenzi.
Please forget the instant man.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't work here. If uthi wena uzohlonipha idlozi lakho because you're expecting the instant results, ngifuna ukukutshela ukuthi you still have a long way to go. Akusebenzi kanjani edlozini. Edlozini kuyalindwa. Edlozini kuyalindwa. Edlozini uyafundiswa ngokulinda. Abantu abadala banendlela yabo yokwenza izinto. Uma ukhule nabazali bakho nje ekhaya uyokubone angikhulumi ngengane esport la ngikhuluma ngengane efundisiwe ngempela. Sometimes ukucele into hayi ukuthi umzali akakwazi ukunikezela into but ufuna ukunikezela at his own accord. You understand? Hayi ukuthi ngeke akunike uzokunika futhi unawo ama means ukuthi akunike. Mase wena uyacetha manje ngicela ungithengele ibhayisekile baba ngicela ungithengele ibhayisekile. That's okay. Angakuthengeli kodwa angavuki kusasa yokuthengela. Mhlamba linde kuze kube ibirthday yakho mhlambe uyicela lento ngoJanuary wena uzalwa ngoDecember. Uyacabanga abangani bakho zonke lezi inyanga in between banamabhayisekile labo wena kade walicela ibhayisekile ukakalithuli but ngebirthday yakho usuyalithola ibhayisekile. You understand? So kuyalindwa futhi into nento inesikhathi sayo. Timing is very crucial la ethongweni. So it's very important. Ngiyabonga mkhulu.
Ngonezi unendlela okwazi ukusi-challenge. It is something that we esidingayo because kwathina we have not reached a point. In fact, I doubt ukuthi usaphila la emhlabeni reach a point of perfection where you become perfect. But there are certain things that we need to be constantly reminded so that we can be a better version of ourselves. The issue on an issue of forgiveness, particularly uma uzokhuluma ngomntwana bedlozi. Abantwana bedlozi baphukile. Abantwana bedlozi one like you've said, you're making an example with yourself. Ukuthi uzibona usemncane ukuthi you are spiritually gifted because ubona izinto that abanye abantu abebengasiboni and you got mocked for that. So uyacabanga kumuntu ke mhlawumbe ongakhekanga ngendlela ukuthi izinto ekwazi ukuba esheshe edlulise yonke lento uthola ukuthi iyambondelana kuyena. You get angazi liphi igama engalisebenzisa apart from in a lack for a better word discriminated. Within family you get discriminated amongst your friend. You constantly change friends because uzizwa sengathi awamukelekile to a point that ugcina uhlala wedwa. Omunye mhlawumbe ngathi mase kuthiwa ngikhuluma naye psychologically ikhombisa ukuthi khona i-problem ekhona, like uphukile, you know, and ziningi izinto ondapha udlula kuzona nje. Khona into esize ukuthi especially uma uyilungisa izinto ukuze sibize ngisho isichitho sedlozi engicabanga ukuthi isona sichitho impela nje ezichithweni ezikhona, uyabo, siphukile. And uthi ngisekuleyo process, how do I teach myself to forgive and overlook? And yabona uthinta even ngisho kwindaba uzothi ngisho kubathakathi bakini awukhulumi ngento esesadlula kuyona, ngisakhuluma ngento othola ukuthi omunye uzokutshela ukuthi usabhekene nayo. And in the midst of that, while I'm trying to sort out impilo yami and find myself and being constantly distracted with yonke into eyenzakalayo, and umbuneza uthe mangihleli kwi-live wangitshela ukuthi I need to learn to forgive because it is my blood, and by me forgiving my blood I'm able ukuthi like yazi i-powerful into aduyisho because it goes beyond vele what we see in a physical realm. Because uthola ukuthi ezinye zezinto zakho zibanjwe yibona laba abantu, uyabo, okumele ubaxolele. Angiphikisani nayo ukuxolela, but the question is umntwana wedlozi usifundisa kanjani? Usifundisa kanjani?
All right. Manzini kunento engiyikhulumile la ekuqaleni. Ngithe ukuthwasa kusiza ekutheni wazi ukuthi ayikho into eyenzeka ngephutha kulomhlaba. Starting by ukuthi wena awufikanga ngephutha la emhlabeni. Whether waphi kwabazali noma warisho whatever indlela ozaleke ngayo, but akusilona iphutha. Ayikho into eyenzeka ngephutha, but everything eyenzakalayo it serves its purpose. So one, you have to accept that first. Ukuthi njengoba ngithakathwa, njengoba bengenza kambi, njengoba bengihlukumeza, akusile iphutha. Futhi I don't have to ask ukuthi why me, because umhlaba will ask you why not you. And ngeke uyithande impendulo. Yabo. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is to understand that ukuthi nothing happens by iphutha. Okwenzeka kuwena naseceleni kwakho akusilona iphutha, but kuyenzeka simply because kufanele kwenzeke ngoba vele kuyenzeka. You understand? Okokuqala lokho kufanele ukuthi uku-accept. Number 2, okufanele ukuthi ukwenze is to forgive yourself, to be in a position yokuthi wena ungenziwa lento eyenziwayo kuwena engemnandi. Forgive yourself, because sometimes we tend to condemn ourselves. Ukuthi yazi kodwa nami ngicabanga ukuthi ile ndlela engenza ngayo eyenza ukuthi mhlawumbe abone ngazuthi ngislima kufanele ukuthi angenze kanje. You understand?
Yes.
Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because the minute you speak like that, it proves that you have not forgiven yourself from your own mistakes, because we all make our mistakes. Because you tend to say, mhlambe nje nami ngithakathe kanje, mhlambe ngihlukunyezwa kanjena la ekhaya because mhlambe nami ngilento engayenzi. Mhlambe ngoba ngakhipha isisu, noma ngoba ngaphika ingane, yabona? No, it has got nothing to do with that. Forgive yourself from all the things that you have done. That's the number 2 thing that you can do in a process of forgiving what is happening around you. Forgive yourself, because once you are forgiven wena ila uthola khona amandla okubhekana nomthakathi ngqo emehlweni. By the way Manzini, I'm not talking this nje because ngikufunde somewhere. Ngikhuluma lento from my own personal experience.
Yes.
My own personal experience. 2, 3. Once you have forgiven yourself, you then realize ukuthi nginamandla. Nginamandla ke manje. Njengoba nginamandla, ngikhulume nge-power of authority. I knew what I was talking about.
Yes.
Usunamandla manje at your disposal. You can either choose to destroy umthakathi okuthakathayo. But when you do that, ngifuna wazi ukuthi usuyawalahla futhi amandla, because usubuyela back kwi-level yakhe. Ubusukhulile wadlula kwi-level yakhe. usubuyela back manje ku level yakhe. You know, kunento eyakashiwo uSibuthelezi kumina back, I think it was 2010 or 2009. Wathi Nkosi yabona umuntu uma ekuthakatha noma ekuhlukumeza usuke ekutshela noma uNkulunkulu usuke ekutshela wena ukuthi awukho kwiposition okufanele ngabe ukuyona, ukwiposition yabantu abalower than you. So kusuke kuyindlela abakukhahlela ngayo bethi lalela manzini nosuka la, you don't belong la, you know, uyasixaka, you don't belong here. So uma bephusha abazokuphusha kamnandi because uyabaphazamisa ontanga lapha. Uyacabanga uqhamuka wena una 35 years ufuna ukuzodlala nezingane ezino 9 years. They won't accept you. This is exactly what is happening. Abantu bekwenza okubi, they are trying to tell you ukuthi you are not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be on another level which is above us. Because angeke ongaphezulu kwakho akuhlukumeze. Uyohleze uhlukunyezwa ongaphansi kwakho ngamandla. Ngisho ukuthi umuntu urich kangakanani. Angikhulumi la ngamandla mina aphysical. Ngikhuluma by spiritual power, by the authority that you came here with. By amandla owafika nawe emhlabeni njengoba ushilo ukuthi umntwana ufike efumbethe.
Yes.
Bakhona ba realize ukuthi amandla akho are here to help me, but you are not helping me. Instead, wena uyazehlisa. Hence ke kuzoba nendlela ezizokususa kuleyo position of lacking of authority. Ukuthakathwa, ukuhlukumezeka, whatever okwenzakalayo. You understand? So
Yeah.
once again njoba ngisho ukuthi ungithi usune power manje of authority. So you can either do ukuthi uziphinselele, but njoba ngisho ukuthi ulahla amandla akho, or while amandla akho waphethe, this is the most difficult thing to do, to help lo kwenza kambi. One thing that you need to understand, man, ukuthi you are not what people say you are, but they are what they say you are. Yabona njoba bebiza ngamagama, njoba bekhuluma kabi ngawe, besho zonke izinto ngawe, that's not what you are, that's what they are. Bayilezo zinto bona. You have to rise above that. Ungithi usuyixolelile, usunamandla at your disposal. Use those power, forgive them. Forgive them. Nothing powerful engayithola enkolweni yoKristu ile eyashiwo uYeshua ethi forgive labantu abakwenza okubi ngoba bazi ukuthi benzani. Bayichethi bayazi kodwa bazi. Baxolele. That's the step number 4. You forgive yourself, then you forgive them. When you forgive them, you get even more power. Why? Because you sacrifice ego yakho. There is power, Baba, we sacrifice anything. When you sacrifice something empilweni yakho, you gain more power on that. I think that's what most religion teaches us.
Yes.
There is power. We sacrifice it.
Yes.
When you sacrifice your ego and you choose to forgive, you get more power. You get more evolution. You get more transformation. You become more than what you were. 10 times more. You learn more about that situation. So, wamforgive. The next step, mesumforgivile, wamxolela. The next step is to accept ukuthi we are all connected. Kunento engishilo la ngithe once into ekusiza ngayo intwaso manzini ukuthi you appreciate wonke umuntu nakho konke okusempilweni yakho nokwenzeka empilweni yakho. Ngathi futhi uwazi ukuthi this powerful energy esithi umdali wakho konke uflowa kuwena kanti futhi kuphinde kuflowe nakulowo muntu loyo.
Kunjalo ke.
So we all have what we call God in us. So ngalesikhathi umuntu ekuthakatha akusho ukuthi akanabo uNkulunkulu, akusho ukuthi akanakho ukukhanya. I-choice naye ayenzile ukuthi angakusebenzisa ukukhanya kodwa asebenzise okunye.
Kwesinye isikhathi futhi ukukhanya kwakhona lokhu wena okudingayo, especially with your family.
And yes, exactly. But at the end of the day, the reason why you find yourself kuleyo situation leyo yokuthi ube discriminated noma uhlukumezeke, it's because nawe uzokwazi ukurecognize ivalue yakho. Uphuthu, ngizokhuluma ngophuthu ngoba ngumuntu othanda amasi.
Okay.
Uphuthu uma ulipheka ulifaka emlilweni, impuphu uyifaka emanzini abilayo. And I'm sure that is not the nicest thing to do. But nevertheless, ikhiphela into emnandi uphuthu. Istove siyashisa, amanzi ayabila, phinde uzofaka into tasteless usawuthi. Kuba nesikhathi, ngalesikhathi ulipheka uphuthu because awuvesana ulikhiphe nje. Ngalesikhathi ulipheka uphuthu, it's a process. Uyagovuza ngesikhathi ulifaka emanzini abilayo estofini esishisa uphinde uthathe into futhi uphinde ufake ugovuze ngithi uya-add more pain, but ekugcineni kosuku kuphumani, kuphuma uphuthu ozokwazi ukuthi udle ngalo either mass noma ulidle nesishebo. So nawe uyashaypheka ngalesikhathi uyithola ukwi-environment not conducive for you. Yazi, this is number 5 manje. Yazi ukuthi uzophuma umnandi, uzophuma uvuthiwe. And mangabe uphuthu alidliwa umpheki kuphela, wena wedwa oshayekayo la.
Yes.
But ekugcineni kosuku baningi abazobenefita from whatever experiences that you have gone through, from everything that we have done. That is why I said earlier on, Manzini, everything that we have done and experienced, it's over. You need to move on to a new experiences with the lesson learned from everything that we have done and experienced. So that's the last thing that you can do. To know and understand ukuthi you are more than what is happening empilweni yakho. You are far bigger than what is happening around you. You are far bigger than ukuthakathwa. You are far bigger than ukuhlukunyezwa. You are far bigger than konke lokho okwenzakalayo. Wonke lama delays akhona empilweni yakho, wena ungcono kakhulu kunawo. But kulungile akwenzeke. But that does not say when you are less important. That does not say when awuthandwa. Trust me. Ukona konke okwenzakalayo kuwena, lo okulethile emhlabeni unguwe, ukuwe ngaphakathi, uyazi uyabona. Themba lokho. That's how you can forgive those who trespass against you.
No, siyabonga Khehla, siyabonga kakhulu. I think ngizothi nje onendlebe uzwile. Ngathi asondeleka amanguni namhlanje. Mhlambe umqhele ngoba sibuye sibaleke isiZulu. Onendlebe uzwile. Sibonga kakhulu mkhulu.
Mhlawumbe ngingayithatha, angazi noma ngalapho ngakwena Manzini khona yini imibuzo. I can take a couple of questions.
Khona omunye nje osanda ngena kumanje in relation to what you're saying that through every suffering. Hey mkhulu. Ngiyabonga like khona lo ngithatha ngisakhona. Yabo nje ngiqala ngikhuluma. Kahle kahle khona into engangigqoke on graduation. Ibhalwe kanjalo la ngaphambili. Through every suffering there is value hidden. So ubuza ukuthi is there any good that esinga eventually sithole to the ongoing pandemic? I think as a nation kukhona mhlawumbe izinto awubona ukuthi zingasikhulisa kunokumele sifunde kuzona with everything that is going on. Ake ngiyekelele kuwena mkhulu.
Okay, yazi ukuthi lento eyenzakalayo manje izoprovela isizwe ekutheni imizimba yethu can okay angiqale kanje khona lento izolandeleka you know ukuthi umzimba khona lento kuthiwa innate the body intelligence kunento engake ngayisho la I think nakwi live lesasinayo ngathi akekho umelaphi wendabuko ongama la athi mina ngiyakwazi ukulapha umuntu but umuntu uzilapha yena ngikhuluma ngokomzimba aka ngisakhuluma ngokomoya sengikhuluma nje ngokomzimba ukuthi
ingasenzi njalo. Can it not do that thing? Nisamuzwa kodwa ungoneza. Wemthi uqhamuka kodwa sekukhulunywa kangaka. Sekukhulunywa kangaka mthi. Can the network, I think it's in network from his side.
What we anticipated of more than what we've been told. Usebalekile uphila. Okay. Bengisasho la manzini ukuthi imizimba izosifundisa ukuthi they can do more than what we've been told. Umzimba yethu can do more than what we've been taught. Whatever institution, you know, imizimba yethu khona efuna ukusifundisa khona. Imizimba yethu khona lento engangakhuluma ngayo manzini I'm very tempted ukuthi ngiyikhulume le yeMekaba ngesiGreek bayibiza ukuthi Mekaba ile eyabonwa uElisha ngalesikhathi ebona uElijah ascenda eyaphezulu wabona ngathi ama-3 chariots kanti wengabona ama-3 chariots wayebona these 3 kind of energies ezikumuntu umuntu wakhiwe ama-energies umzimba yemuntu wakhiwa ama-energies amathathu you know okuthiwa it's Mekaba ngesiGreek ngesiZulu sikevesane sithi nje wakhiwa umoya you know isiZulu sometimes siba very limited explain izinto so ngiya-understand futhi ukuthi kungani it's because at that time when you look consciousness of those people at that time neyamanje sebeyabuya manje sebeya-realize ukuthi hey kwakukanje kahle kahle because they've gone that other side and they realize that we did not record this information then now they are recording through us. So these 3 energies emzimbeni yizona ezisinika lento ukuthi sikwazi ukuconnecta nakho konke okwenzakalayo emzimbeni yethu. Either imzimba yethu chooses not to take whatever that is being you know efakwayo kuyona or iyakuthatha iyakwamukela noma iya-rejecta. So is these 3 energies engingacela ukuthi kwamanje ngingawamention because ngicabanga ukuthi mina nawe manzini sisazokhuluma ngayo lento le la sobe sikhuluma khona nge-consciousness ne-intuition ne-mind i-power of 3 yes ila ngiyobe senginaba khona kabanzi-ke ngayo lento le but lama-energies lawa amathathu iwona ke lawa okuyiwona are responsible for healing iwona ke lawa usonzwaphi asebenza ngawo because usonzwaphi like I told you guys before ukuthi usonzwaphi is the entity or is the ithongo leli ekuyilona elisilekelela nge healing either physically emotionally mentally and spiritually you know. So if ezokhila physically usebenza ngalama energies lawa we-3 and one of those energies is cell in consciousness you know and njengamanje na umzimba ke uzozi-expose manje ukuthi through this pandemic uzozi-expose umzimba ukuthi this is what I am or this is what you didn't know about me. Kahle sizobona ipower yomzimba. Yes, in the process, we are going to lose people. In the process, kunalabo who are going to reject the change. Ezobiyenzeka emzimbeni yakho. In the process futhi khona laba abazofuna ukuthi distort the power of the body to ukuthi bafide ama-egos abo. So that's how I am going to answer that question for now.
Omunye mkhulu yabuza la ukuthi while we are on the topic of forgiveness, more specifically ama-families, ngiyakwazi ukuthi ngibaxolele mase ngiyayiphelelisa kubona, meaning that I isolate myself. Is that still deemed as forgiveness?
No, yes, you can, as long as the isolation yakho, i-intent yakhona i-pure, ungathi uyaziqhelananisa kanti usabamba inhliziyo. Kube uyaziqhelananisa because you want to focus empilweni yakho. There's nothing wrong with that. Definitely, but you need to understand ukuthi one way or other you are connected to them. I think this is what I did. I don't think, I don't say ukuthi omunye umuntu angayenza. As somebody from the family, why a business engisebenzisela nje imithi futhi imithi heavy, because yena waba nenhlanhla because wemdala kunami futhi wena igift na wakwazi ukubona ukuthi yini le enginayo. When I realized that, I had to go through the process yokumxolela le bengiyichaza, which it happened ngazi isolate nami. But in my isolation, once in a while ngangimfonela kunjani, hayi bengifuna nje ukutshela hayi ngi-right ngiyakukhumbula, that's all, nje those kind of talk,
Yes.
Time to time, once in a while, I will buy a grocery for that person. Ngingamniki imali because bagangile abantu. I will buy a grocery for that person. Ngimhambisele. Once in a while, in my isolation. Why? I am trying to prove to myself and to the spirit that the intent yami yokuzi-isolate is not out of ukudinwa, anger noma ini, cha, it's pure. Maybe that can work for that person, but there's nothing wrong ngokuthi uzifune wena unga-involve abanye abantu, especially if you know those people, they don't want good for you. Ngisacela ukuphendula la undebele ubuza la ukuthi mkhulu ukhuluma kanjani nabakini mengabe ungaboni ngisho namaphupho. Ngithe abantu abadala, they are not physical, they are not linear, just like us. Abantu abadala, they are on an astral level. They see things on an astral level. So that's spiritual. And the spirit does not have time, does not have distance as we understand it. So they use, if they cannot use amaphupho to communicate with you, it does not stop them to use colors. It does not stop them to use smell. It does not stop them to use numbers. It also does not stop them to use other people to communicate with you. So akuyona yodwa ukuthi abantu abadala ukhuluma nabo ngokwamaphupho kuphela. Ziningi indlela, even through numbers. I have a gift of understanding numbers. So lokho uyakwazi ukuxhumana ngenamba nomuntu wakini, uyakwazi ukunukelwa isinemfu or unukelwe ugwayi ohlaza or unukelwe utshwala or whatever, or imfino or ishebe esithize. You can connect with them through all of that. It's just that right now I'm giving you an awareness ukuthi don't only look emapusheni to connect with them. There are many other ways you can use to connect with you.
Mkhulu, I think kuzoba ukugcina lo from my side. Bengubekelele ekugcineni purposely.
Yes.
Khona bebuzile ukuthi how do you deal with people who escape issues of illness by going to intwasa? Sidile kanjani nabantu abayekelela igule ethizeni lezi ey'medical mase kuthiwa bahambe bothwasa?
Ayikho into eyinkinga njengokuswela ulwazi. Kunento engeke ngayisho la earlier ngathi uma ufuna ukunderstanda ubuwena uconnecta nabalaba abakuphethe. You know, ayikho into engalapheki as long as it's a dis-ease, you know, because sometimes we need to understand lento leyo ukuthi lokho esikubiza ukuthi izifo kahle kahle izinto ezenza ukuba singabi comfortable kwi-environment ethize noma kwisimo esithize, and then you end up kuba physical. We understand?
Yes.
So sometimes kumele uthathe impande ethize and then ukwazi ukuthi ulapheke. Bakhona abantu abanama gift okusebenza ngempande ungathi akutshele manje ukuthi uphethwe umkhuhlane thatha impande ukuthi uphethwe izinyo thatha impande ukuthi without even you going to ukuthwasa. I think the reason why people they escape to lento yentwaso sometimes, or angathi intwaso, because intwaso is broad. Angithi ama rituals that are related to intwaso, because that's the correct way of saying it. You know, ama rituals lawo ingoba umuntu usuke eleka in knowledge, usuke ignorant of some truth within him or herself. Ngoba I will tell you, most of the people abahambayo mhlambe angenza isibonelo uphethwe iasthma. Hayi njengoba lokhu uphethwe iasthma nje kanje ingoba kufanele ukuthi uhambe uyothwasa wena uyongena kwiphehlo izophela lento ekuphethe, or njengoba uphethwe i-HIV or AIDS kufanele uhambe uyothwasa whatever, or uphethwe yini, you know, lezi zinto physical, for example.
Yes.
But you need to understand one thing. Yabona thina sine DNA emzimbeni ethu, and i-DNA iyona esiconnecta namathongo ethu, and amathongo ethu abona amanye awo ayihamba la emhlabeni, you know, and kune coding eyenzakala kwi-DNA before wena uzofike la emhlabeni. Leyo coding leyo iyehla yaze yehlela kuwena nawe njobula unikeza i-opportunity ukuthi uthi rework on that code ye-DNA yakho. Kunama-asthma, kunomuntu one-asthma othola ukuthi asthma yakhe ingoba because of ama-genes iyumthelela nje ekhaya, you know. Kunalama disease okuthiwa ama-genetical diseases, you know, like i-OBP for example. Lezo zinto lezo zikutshela ukuthi kunento ekhona kwi-DNA yakho that needs to be worked on. You are given an opportunity wena yokuthi ithinta uthothi iphuma nawe emndenini. It's because unikezwe wena amandla yokuthi you can deal with that coding eyenzakalile within ifamily yakho. You don't have to go to do ama rituals athize emzini abantu to sort that out. You know, that's impendulo yalapho. It can only come through abantu bagini, through yourself. You have to go within. Lengizoloke ngiphinda. Go within, go inwards. Ngena ngaphakathi kuwe. Re-evaluate impilo yakho. Have the moment of silence. You know, have a meeting with yourself. All the answers are there. Because now uzogcina usudlala omkhize la, usudlala ozungu la ngaphandle bekufaka kuma rituals isidingo sakhona singekho. So ignorance nje. Mhlambe ngisacela ukuthatha nje ama comments nembuzo embalwa ngala. Kuno uhlanganisile mkhulu, forgiveness is very deep. It is important to first deal with the situation before. Depending ukuthi ubhekene nani. Depending ukuthi ubhekene nani. You know, into emnandi ngokuba umuntu ukuthi we are versatile. There is no one way to solve one thing. You know, sivuleleke ngale ndlela ukuthi mina ngingakunikezela lezi zinto lezi engikunikeze zona ezu5. Those are just guidelines. Those are the things that helped me. I'm helping you to see it, but you can have your own ways of dealing with the matter. You know, your own personal way, depending ukuthi abakini or laba abakulethe emhlabeni bona bathini, because you need to understand njoba siphila la emhlabeni sizofunda from one another at the same time. That is why we are not in an isolation. So sizofunda from one another, and as we learn from one another, we try to shape impilo zethu, you know, on a personal level, you know. Ngisacela futhi ukuthatha omunye la ugogo Mnguni uthe emakhosini izindlondlo, self awareness is very important. Yes, kunjalo. Mkhulu, I have a problem when I isolate myself from my enemies. I block them everywhere. I don't really understand this. Mhlambe Manzini uyayizwa le. Mkhulu, I have a problem when I isolate myself from my enemies. I block them everywhere. Block them everywhere.
No, I think uqonda ukuthi uvala zonke indlela zokuxhumana nabo. Kungaba ukuthi ngizomblock efonini, ngimblock ku-WhatsApp, ngimblock ku-Facebook, zonke indlela zokuxhumana. Obviously le physical ngokugwema ukuthi uhlangabezane naye, kodwa zonke indlela zokuxhumana ezinye uzomvala.
Koba kuhle uma ekwenza lokho. Koba kuhle mekwenza lokho just because ufuna ukuzinikeza isikhathi sokuthi athi go through healing process yena personally.
Yes. I also wanted to thinta kulokho omkhulu. Kule nje adu now before le comment le kade khuluma ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi udinga ukuthi uqala ukuxazulula inkinga. I think kulo ikushoyo ukuthi ku depend on isimo, ngizoqala lapho nje because ezinye zezimo awukwazi ukuthi yes uthi uzoqala uxazulula inkinga because ukuxazulula inkinga will cause more damage. Ezinye zezinto if you really want to heal are better left unspoken, you know, because isuke nje izo results to a whole new turmoil. And then masiza kule ukuthi ke that isolation, even though question yokuqala, then gives you a breather to begin the healing process. Yabo. Because it's not everything that requires confrontation, and the reality is that if uthi izinto ufuna ukuzixazulula ezinye zazo they do require that confrontation as a way of dealing with the issue. Not always. Makhosi kokungoni.
Kunomunye
nokuba ingxenye live.
Yes. Kunomunye la uthi Thokoza mkhulu, what does birds mean? I always see different types of birds in the morning especially. Mase kuba khona futhi uNdebele uthi yes mkhulu, I see numbers. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. You know, like I said, communication from the spirits, it can use anything. It can even use ilwane. It can even use the number, like I said. It can use even plants, you know. Isebenzisa noma ngabe yini. Kuya ngokuthi zenzani lezo nyoni. Njengoba uthi uyazibona lezo nyoni zenzani. You know.
Yes.
So you have to look at the patterns ukuthi zenzani, then you will then try to understand the message behind. Mkhulu, I don't have peace. Peace, it comes from you. You can never find it outside of you. But trick is ekutheni peace kufanele uqale uyifunela abanye abantu. Once uyifunela abanye abantu, then now uzoyithola. Because uma sayifunela wena uqobo izokudlula. Ungabonanga noma usuyitholile but ngeke uyibone because uzobe operate out of ego. But you have to be selfless, you know, and ask for peace for omunye umuntu. Then it will then find you as well. How do you know or feel when you have forgiven yourself? You just know. You have
At
this
peace.
buoyant feeling. Come again, Gun. Sorry.
At peace. You are very much at peace.
Yes,
Forgiveness comes with peace.
Yes. You just know. You know what? You are content with everything that is happening around you and yourself. You tend to understand what you are and where you come from and where you are going. You know, you just know. You will know if umuntu omunye futhi usumxolele, because the next time ekona, because umuntu yohleze kona. Guys, one thing that you need to know, khona into eshilo lamanzini ethi abantu bethonga noma abantu who are spiritual abeve I'm not sure if this term is the correct term, they are broken.
Yes,
like they've gone through a lot of hardships, and they are going through hardships currently. Our
yes,
pay, hardships. Yes.
yes,
The reason for that is because if wakhelwe ukwenza izinto ezinkulu, you don't have to find yourself in a place of comfort, because the comfort zone for you is not acceptable. So you cannot become, ngicela nje lokhu ukwamukele if umuntu one-gift yokuthi you can never find i-comfort zone. You will always uchallenge-wa abantu abadala abakini, because banobuhlakani obujulile obungaphezulu balokhu onabo. As much as you keep on growing ukuthi hayi cha sengiyi-right-ke manje, but you still find yourself uthola more and more and more information. Yeah. Ngicabanga kumina Manzini yileyo imibuzo khona nama-comments akhona ke yeah. So nje ngiyabonga kakhulu ke mfoka Manzini, angazi noma kusekhona neminye imibuzo engalapho ngakwena umuntu abuyele eqopheni sethatha isikhathi.
Kule namba mkhulu ngizocela ukuthi bekuthinte because khona befuna ukuthi umchazisele indaba yezinamba ama-vision of numbers, and ngizoyekelela kuwena Khehla because ingathatha omunye 2 hours. Ukhona nomunye obekade ekhuluma about mental health and idlozi, and I think it also requires a separate topic on its own because it's very broad. It's very broad. Ngithela nama-idea ke la mhlambe for ama-future topics engisazobuye ngizame ukuthola mhlambe nabanye abazongilekelela kuona, but kuyabukeka sengathi issues of forgiveness mkhulu uyithinte kuyona iyinto ekusamele sike sikhulisane kuyona. Because uma siyenza kuzomele senze sibe genuine, singafuni ukuyenza because that's the thing that singabantwana bedlozi esibuye sidlule kuyona, and uthola ukuthi kwayona i-peer pressure of some sort. Uyabona, okokuqala mkhulu, I will understand that ngumuntu onedlozi, and then mase kuthiwa ngivuma idlozi, uthola ukuthi ukulivuma kwami idlozi akuhambisani nokuthi ngempela ngiyawuvuma umsebenzi wedlozi, but ikuhambisana more of ngifuna ukulungisa izinto ezithile, so I'm doing this as a gateway to something that I really want. Kanjalo-ke ne-issue of forgiveness, angifuni siyenze something as a gateway to something la sifuna ukufinyelela khona, but that it is a process, sinike isikhathi, like you've said, ukuthi into zedlozi require time ukuthi sizifundise, because I feel like siyadinga ukufundisana kuzona